Okay, so Anita King Sarkeesian is going to be an honored speaker at GenCon this year. Yes, YouTube poison Anita Sarkeesian. Wow, am I glad that my friends and I decided not to go to GenCon this year. I just, you know what, we did it 3 years in a row and we're just kind of done with it, but it was a good decision. Last year I encountered my fair share of social justice nonsense at GenCon, and I made a video about it around that time last year. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, when I heard this, I was like, what? But it's not surprising. I mean, social justice insinuates itself into just about everything. Everything that I cared about. I used to be sort of like part of the atheist community, not in that I YouTubed about atheism, but I was an atheist. I was an outspoken atheist, you know, in my day-to-day conversations and such. And, you know, I was sort of like an advocate for the new atheism, and big fan of Dawkins and Sam Harris and Hitchens and Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra and all those guys, and Thunderfoot. You know, I used to watch their videos. I used to consume it. And then the Atheism Plus movement started, and social justice invaded atheism, and then I lost interest in it. And then, of course, social justice invaded gaming and you know, games journalism, and from that you got Gamergate. And not too long ago, there was the Me Too panic of the month. Had its claws into Magic the Gathering, something again I used to be into way back in college days, and you know, shit that whole thing up. And now in traditional gaming, you know, role-playing games, board games, strategy games, miniature gaming, looks like they've invited social justice icon Anita Sarkeesian into the mix. And it's not surprising, really. All this, when something hits sort of normie stature, like atheism did, like magic did, like video games did, it invariably gets invaded by, you know, busybodies, the social justice movement. And, you know, traditional gaming, hobby gaming, it's no different than any other normie nerdness. So, of course, it got invaded. So, now here she's an honored guest, which, from what I understand, means that she's being paid to be there. She's going to be speaking in a panel. I don't know what the panel's going to be about. Probably social justice in the gaming community, or toxic masculinity in RPGs, or whatever. Anyway, I gotta shake my head, I tell you what. Now, I guess there's this program, if you're not into online gaming, or not online gaming, but traditional role-playing games, you might not know about it, but there's a program called Roll20, which is kind of like a tool set that allows dungeon masters and gamers to play remotely through like Google Hangouts and other, you know, online chat and communication software. And one of the lead designers or lead managers or program managers for Roll20, a guy named Nolan T. Jones. And I guess there was a Reddit about somebody complaining about Roll20 having people posting sessions for male only or men only D&D sessions. And so this chick complained about it, and you know, she bumped right up to the top of the Reddit. And Nolan T. Jones came in and said, hey, if you see this, let us know and we'll ban these users from our platform. Now, here's the thing. Women-only RPG sessions, totally fine. Not a problem. Nobody cares about that, right? As a matter of fact, it's encouraged. More girls got to get into gaming, you know. But, and, you know, I've got no problem with girls at my table. I've had women in my D&D groups, you know, for a long time. Since college days, we had women in our D&D groups. But if group of guys want to get together and have a guys-only RPG session, it's not really up to Nolan T. Jones and our Roll20 to step in. And if a bunch of girls want to do the same thing, who fucking cares? There's plenty of platforms. There's plenty of sessions going on for everybody. Anyway, just it's saddening to see that social justice has invaded all the things that I, gave a shit about. Now, I haven't played D&D in years, and the reason for that is, not in years, probably about a year. And I don't know, I'm kind of burnt out on it. It's run its course for me. But they'll come out with 6th edition, and I'll probably jump on the bandwagon again, who knows. But, yeah, I don't know. There's lots of other RPGs out there. D&D is not one that, has held my interest. Because basically it's a repackage. Just like social justice, it's a repackage. They can find some form of critical theory in anything popular, anything remotely popular. Somebody's got to come in and shit it up with their busybody critical theory take on it. Anyway, now here's the thing. It's funny. D&D's been one of these games that for the longest time has sort of had racism explicit in the game. There are different races that you can play in the game, and certain races are better at things than other things, right? And other races are better at things than other things, but than other races, I should say. So I guess it's kind of like fantasy race realism. I don't know, but the fact that nobody's come after D&D about the fact that elves are better at magic than half-orcs or some shit like that. I'm just surprised by that nobody's jumped all over it. Maybe because it's fantasy races, but it just shows to go that the whole idea of making judgments about individuals based on their racial characteristics is not considered wrong by the people who scream about racism. I know it's only fantasy, and for all I know, somebody's written an actual article about how D&D is inherently racist. I mean, the people at BuzzFeed got to write something every day, so I'm sure somebody's written something about it, and if they have, by all means, comment about it. But, yeah, just silly. And it got me thinking about, the whole Nolan T. Jones thing. It got me thinking about the identity politics being so ubiquitous and everything, right? And I think we need to come up with a new phrase for identity politics. It's not, because it sounds like, it's leveled as a criticism by people who stand against it. But it doesn't sound that horrendous. And it really needs a horrendous name, like, I don't know, popular racism, or approved racism, because that's what it comes down to. Approved sexism, approved exphobia, heterophobia, because when you look at identity politics and the cancer that's coming from the left, it's against heteronormativity and heterosexuals, and it's against whites, and it's against men. So it's all approved, it's all popular and completely legit criticism based on race, based on gender, and based on sexual orientation. So, should the right take a page from the left playbook and start screaming people about heterophobia? And screwing people about being anti-white? I guess they do to some degree, but then when they do that, they're called Nazis. So, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be a winning strategy or not. I'm just sick of it all. Like, can't D&D just be fucking D&D? Can't Magic the Gathering just be a really expensive card game? that incels like to play, that's not fair. There's lots of people who play Magic. They're not all incels. I don't know. Wow, I can't believe I dragged this out to 10 minutes. It was supposed to be just a throwaway comment about Anita Sarkeesian being at GenCon. Oh, and Nolan T. Jones is going to be at GenCon. And I'm sure if my intuition is right, they'll be on the same panel and they'll be talking about toxic masculinity in the world of gaming. I should bring a board game that I designed to market. I designed a board game called The Right Track. And it's all about, it's like a train-based game, but it's a train/poker game, and it's set in the Old West. And one of the cards is the Queen card, and she's a damsel in distress. When it comes out, you put a little female on the train tracks. I should bring that out just to fucking troll them. I should actually like work to getting it published just to troll the social justice that is invading traditional gaming, and then just be completely unapologetic about it and like thumb my nose at them. Anyway, I'm at work now. I'm really surprised I was able to get like a full drive to work out of this subject. But there it is. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you all next week. Maybe this weekend, who knows. But there you be.